Another topic I wanted to go on was Zinchenko. Just like the game against Everton, like his first half was unbelievable, man. Like just the way he completely changed the game. Like I give him a lot of credit because he pretty much changed the game. Because the way we were playing in that game, it was looking like it was going to end up being like the first Everton game that we had, where they were just sitting deep and it was very difficult to disorganize them. And he basically changed it with the way he carried the ball into the final third, broke lines and and then found Saka and things like that. Just his ability in the first phase, second phase, the way, because pretty much the left centre mid. He sits in right next to Partey, distributes the ball into the final third, finds players between lines with passing, and dribbling as well. And yeah, he like that performance was great. But the main thing I wanted to go on about, I'll talk about was that back, and I used like an NBA reference on Twitter when I spoke about it, like the backcourt. And the backcourt that we have of Partey and Zinchenko, for me, that's the best in the league. When you think about some of the numbers that they've got, the top three in terms of like progressive passes into the final third, in the season with players like that played like over 15 games, but pretty much is Zinchenko, De Bruyne, and Partey. And Zinchenko's at the top with 10.3 progressive passes per 90, De Bruyne with 8.74, and Partey with 8.56. So for me, when you look at that and you think about the qualities that both Partey and Zinchenko have got, and I've spoken about both of them separately in the previous videos, is what Partey is capable of doing. Finding plays in between lines with passing, dribbling, receives the ball from deep, fake shot, dribbling, carrying the ball into the final third, or breaking lines with passing into the final third. And you think about Zinchenko, the same thing. The guy completely dominates the first phase and the second phase. And I've seen what people have been talking about with this like 2-2-6 kind of thing that we do. For me, that's not really how we play consistently. It's more or less how we play is we play with Ben White, Gabriel Saliba, which is more of a free. Play with more of a 3-2 and a 5. With Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel. Then you got Zinchenko and Partey right there at the base, and then you have Martinelli, Xhaka, whoever the striker is, Odegaard, and then you got Saka. But obviously, at times you're gonna get Ben White overlapping into the final third, allowing Saka to then drift inside, which is when you get 6 in the final third. That's the reason why we've seen frames or still pictures or things that are of that kind of thing. But we don't consistently play that like that because Ben White doesn't consistently overlap. You see what I mean? So. But it's something that does eventually have to happen, especially late in the games when teams are sitting really deep and we're trying to get goals. You're going to have Ben White consistently overlap because there's no reason for him to be really deep, especially when you've got the likes of Gabriel and Saliba, Partey, who can deal with transitions really well. But at the same time, you don't want to deal with that kind of you don't want to put that kind of pressure on those kind of players just by themselves consistently over 90-minute period. It's not the kind of pressure that you want on them because there's still a risk of teams counter-attacking and bypassing us and getting to the final third. But it's something that someone like Ben White come inside, then it helps us because then you got 3 of them and Partey, 3 of the centre backs and Partey behind. But yeah, to go back to Partey and Zinchenko, for me, that's probably the best, like I said already with the NBA reference, the best backcourt in the league in terms of when you think about players who can progress the ball into the final third, players who can find players who are positioned in the final third. Because the whole point of our whole positional system, the whole reason why we play like this and why we play with 3 and a 2, and why we position Xhaka and Odegaard in the final third, the whole reason for this is simply because we want to have Saka stretching the pitch on the right, Martinelli stretching the pitch on the left to create space in the middle for the likes of Xhaka and Odegaard, and whoever the striker is, maybe Gabriel Jesus. And then you have the likes of Zinchenko and Partey deep with help support from Gabriel, Ben White and Saliba in terms of and the main support there is so they can find these players in the final third. So we stretch the pitch, create space in the middle, and then we have these guys behind the ball to find these guys in between lines. You see what I mean? And it's like, what makes Zinchenko and Partey so good compared to any other backcourt in the league that you can think about is, Chelsea have got Kovacic and Enzo, City you've got Rodri and Gundogan. Obviously, if I have to pick 2 of the best players in that position in terms of doing that job, I will pick Partey and Gundogan, because Gundogan for me is unbelievable. I'll pick those 2. But what I rate the most about Partey and Zinchenko is that they can both progress the ball with passing, they can both dribble the ball into the final third, they can both receive in the final third as well. So it's like they just have all the tools that you need to be able to progress the ball into the final third, find players in between lines. They have the ability to suck players in with dribbling and then create, which then allows one of Xhaka and Odegaard to be free and then find those guys in between lines. And they have all the tools. I think the only thing that's missing from that sort of position is probably Zinchenko, in terms of like when we have to defend transitions. Obviously, Zinchenko is not the best defensively, and that's the only flaw that we have in that in that back. But that's the reason why on his side we got Gabriel, and that's why you have to give a lot of credit to Gabriel this season and what he's doing, and Saliba as well, because Zinchenko is able to position himself in this area, knowing that he might not be the best defensively, but he has Gabriel right behind him, occupying that left back kind of space. You see, then defending it and holding up the opposition until Zinchenko can get back in position. And that's why I'm saying that Ben White is there rather than having to be playing with this 2-2-6 that people are talking about. Is why Ben White would most likely be lower, deeper, because he can't consistently keep on overlapping, because then we need that support defensively to deal with the transition. But yeah, I feel like that Zinchenko Partey, I think the main thing that we do need to address as well is to improve the players in the final third. Therefore, because our main concern at the moment is efficiency in the final third. And I think if we improve the players in the final third who are receiving higher up the pitch in these attacking areas, we have no issues finding players in the final third. The issue is what we do with the ball when in the final third. So I feel like going into next summer, next season, improve the players in the final third, because the likes of Zinchenko, Partey, Gabriel, Saliba are going to find them in the final third. Ben White, they're going to find these players in the final third. Improve the quality of the players in the final third, the quality of the players in the central areas, the quality of the players in the wide areas, and then we can become more efficient in the final third and be able to utilize what these guys are bringing to the team. Because what Zinchenko and Partey are doing is unbelievable. Just progressing the ball, bypassing players, carrying the ball, finding players in the final third of ease, finding them free as well. Yeah, imagine if we have great players receiving free in the final third and able to turn and attack the box. That's what we need to focus on going into next season. But yeah, man, give credit to Zinchenko and Partey for that as well.